The most dangerous enemy is not the person against you. It is the voice inside you that attacks you before anyone else can. It makes you lose sleep over a future that has not happened. It makes you apologize for mistakes no one remembers. It makes you suffer in silence while the world thinks you are fine. This is overthinking, a quiet poison. And tonight, I will show you how to stop feeding it before it steals your peace, your confidence, and the life you were meant to live. Stop for a moment. Before your mind runs to the next worry, before it opens the old wound, before it creates another disaster that has not happened. Listen with your whole body. The prison you are trying to escape may not be outside you. It may be the thought you keep feeding. A thought comes once, and it is small. You hold it, repeat it, decorate it with fear, and soon it becomes a mountain on your chest. This is how overthinking steals a life, not all at once, but breath by breath, night by night, question by question. You think you are solving the problem, but many times you are only circling it. You think you are preparing, but many times you are only punishing yourself before anything has happened. You think you are being careful, but sometimes care becomes a cage. The mind says, what if I fail? What if they leave? What if I choose wrong? What if I am not enough? What if I lose everything? And while your body is sitting in one room, your mind has traveled through 10,000 storms. It has argued with people who are not there. It has lost battles that have not begun. It has suffered futures that may never arrive. A disciplined person does not have an empty mind. This is a mistake many people make. A disciplined person has a trained mind. Thoughts still come. Fear still knocks. Memories still return. Uncertainty still stands at the door. But the trained person does not bow to every visitor. He looks, he breathes, he chooses what may enter and what must pass. Overthinking is not a sign that you are weak. It is a sign that your mind is using strength in the wrong direction. The same mind that creates fear can create clarity. The same imagination that builds disaster can build vision. The same attention that keeps returning to pain can return to peace. But first, you must stop believing that every thought is truth. A loud thought is not always a true thought. A painful thought is not always a useful thought. A familiar thought is not always a wise thought. The first step is to return to the body. When the mind becomes wild, do not chase it into the forest. Return to the breath. Place your feet on the ground. Relax your jaw. Drop your shoulders. Let the hands open. Breathe in slowly through the nose and breathe out longer than you breathed in. Feel the air leave you. Feel the body remember that it is here. Your fear may be in tomorrow, but your body is here. Your regret may be in yesterday, but your body is here. Your power is never in the imagined future or the buried past. Your power is where your feet are. Many people try to think their way out of overthinking. This is like trying to dry water with more water. When the body is tense, the mind receives a message of danger. When the breath is shallow, the mind begins to search for threats. When the shoulders are raised, the jaw is tight, the eyes are restless, and the phone is glowing in the hand, the mind does not feel safe. First, make the body safe. Then the mind has a place to soften. This does not mean all problems disappear. It means you stop meeting them from panic. There is a great difference between a person who faces a problem with a clenched body and a person who faces it with a steady breath. The problem may be the same, but the person is different. One is controlled by the storm. The other stands in the storm and remembers the ground. When you feel the mind beginning to race, do not say, I must stop thinking. Say, I must return. Return to the weight of the body. Return to the sound around you. Return to the feeling of air entering and leaving. Return to one simple reality. This moment is not every moment. This problem is not your whole life. This thought is not your entire identity. You are larger than the thought moving through you. The second step is to name the thought. Overthinking becomes powerful when it remains vague. It says everything is wrong. But what is everything? It says, I cannot handle this. But what exactly is this? It says, they will judge me. Who are they? What proof do you have? What action is needed? A fear without a name becomes a fog. A fear with a name becomes something you can look at. Say it clearly. I am afraid I will fail. I am afraid I made a mistake. I am afraid someone is disappointed in me. I am afraid I will be rejected. I am afraid of regret. I am afraid of being seen as foolish. Do not run from the sentence. Speak it inside with honesty. When you name the thought, you take it from the sky and place it in your hand. Then you can see its size. Most overthinking is not about the surface problem. It is about the fear beneath it. You think you are worried about one message, but beneath it is the fear of not being valued. You think you are worried about one decision, but beneath it is the fear of regret. You think you are worried about one mistake, but beneath it is old shame. You think you are worried about the future, but beneath it is the belief that you cannot trust yourself to handle what comes. Once you name the thought, ask 3 questions. Is it true? Is it useful? Is it mine to carry right now? Do not rush these questions. Let them cut through the fog. Some thoughts are not true. They are old wounds speaking in a new situation. Some thoughts may be partly true, but they are not useful at this moment. Some thoughts belong to tomorrow, next month, or someone else's responsibility. You become exhausted when you carry every time, every person, every outcome, and every possibility at once. A wise person does not carry all stones just because they are on the road. He carries what is needed for the path in front of him. If the thought is true and useful, then turn it into action. If it is not true, let it pass. If it is true but cannot be acted on now, write it down and return to the present. If it belongs to another person, release it. Respect other people, but do not live inside their possible opinions. The third step is to reduce the battlefield. Overthinking makes everything too large. One task becomes your entire future. One criticism becomes your whole identity. One silence becomes proof that you are unwanted. One mistake becomes evidence that you always fail. This is how the mind creates unnecessary suffering. It takes a single moment and turns it into a life sentence. Reduce it. Bring the problem back to one clear next step. If the work feels impossible, open the first page. If the room feels overwhelming, clean one corner. If the conversation frightens you, write the first honest sentence. If the decision feels heavy, list the 2 choices and choose the next test. If the future feels dark, do one thing today that a stronger version of you would respect. You do not defeat overthinking by solving your entire life in one night. You defeat it by refusing to remain frozen. One step is not small when the old habit was to spiral. One breath is not small when the old habit was to panic. One honest action is not small when the old habit was to delay. The mind learns through evidence. Every time you act with steadiness, you show the mind that you are not helpless. This is why action matters. The mind may not trust words, but it respects repeated action. You can tell yourself, I am strong, but if you never keep a promise to yourself, the mind will not believe you. Keep small promises. Wake when you said you would wake. Drink water when the body asks. Finish one task before opening 10 more. Stop checking what hurts you. Walk even when the mood is heavy. Apologize when the heart knows it should. Each promise kept becomes a stone in the foundation of self-trust. Self-trust is one of the deepest medicines for overthinking. Much overthinking comes from the fear that you will not be able to handle what happens. So train yourself to become someone who can handle the next moment. Not every possible moment, only the next one. If difficulty comes, you will breathe. If a mistake happens, you will learn. If someone misunderstands you, you will remain honest. If a door closes, you will stand, grieve if needed, and look for the next door. This is not blind optimism. This is disciplined trust. Set limits for thinking. The untrained mind wants unlimited time with your energy. It says, think a little more, search a little more, replay it one more time, ask one more person, imagine one more outcome. But without a limit, thinking becomes a swamp. Give it a container. Say, I will think about this for 20 minutes. I will write the facts, the fear, and the next step. Then I will move. A container turns thought into a tool. Without it, thought becomes a master. There is a time to reflect, and there is a time to act. Reflection brings learning. Rumination brings suffering. Reflection has humility. Rumination has obsession. Reflection asks, what can I learn? Rumination asks, why did this happen to me again and again? Reflection returns you to life. Rumination keeps you locked in the same room, touching the same wound until it cannot heal. The fourth step is to train the mind daily. Do not wait until the storm arrives to learn balance. If you only practice peace when you are already breaking, you will think peace is impossible. Practice when the day is ordinary. Sit for a few minutes, breathe, watch the thoughts come and go. Do not chase them, do not fight them. Let them pass like birds crossing the sky. The sky does not chase birds. It allows movement and remains wide. At first, the mind will complain. It will say this is boring. It will say this is useless. It will say there are more important things to do. Let it speak. You are not there to obey it. You are there to train attention. Each time the mind wanders and you return to the breath, you strengthen the muscle of returning. Do not measure the practice by how silent the mind becomes. Measure it by how many times you return without violence. A person who meditates is not someone who has no thoughts. It is someone who learns not to become every thought. The thought says, remember the mistake, you notice and return. The thought says, worry about tomorrow, you notice and return. The thought says, you are not enough, you notice and return. Each return is a victory that no one sees. The deepest victories are often silent, but understand something deeper. Overthinking often hides a feeling you do not want to feel. Sometimes the mind analyzes because the heart is hurt. Sometimes it plans because the heart is afraid. Sometimes it replays because the heart wants an apology it never received. Sometimes it predicts disaster because the heart has been surprised by pain before. If you only fight the thoughts, you may miss the wound beneath them. Ask gently, what am I really feeling? Not what am I thinking, but what am I feeling? Sadness, shame, loneliness, anger, disappointment, fear, exhaustion. Name the feeling too. The body may soften when the truth is finally allowed to speak. You may discover that you do not need more analysis. You need rest. You need honesty. You need a boundary. You need to grieve. You need to forgive yourself. You need to stop asking the wrong person to give you peace. Do not shame yourself for overthinking. Shame does not create discipline. It creates hiding. If you say, why am I like this? You wound yourself twice. Say instead, my mind is trying to protect me, but it needs guidance. Thank the mind for its effort, then take back leadership. Protection without wisdom becomes prison. Fear without guidance becomes a tyrant. The mind is a powerful servant, but a cruel master. Speak to yourself as a good teacher speaks to a student. Honest, firm, patient. Yes, this is hard. Yes, the mind is loud. Yes, the fear feels real. But we will breathe. We will name the thought. We will take one step. We will practice again. This is how inner strength grows. Not through hatred of weakness, but through steady correction. If you fall back into overthinking, do not make it proof that you cannot change. Notice how long it took you to notice. That is progress. Before, maybe you were lost for hours. Now you notice after 30 minutes. Later, 10 minutes. Later, one breath. The path is not never falling. The path is returning faster. A warrior is not made by perfect days. A warrior is made by returning to practice after imperfect days. Separate facts from stories. This practice alone can free much of your energy. Fact, they have not replied. Story, they do not care about me. Fact, I made a mistake. Story, I ruin everything. Fact, I feel nervous. Story, I am incapable. Fact, the future is uncertain. Story, something terrible will happen. Facts can be handled. Stories often become prisons. Return to the fact, then choose the next action. Emotion can make a story feel true, but feeling is not always proof. A fearful thought may feel urgent because the body is activated. A shameful memory may feel like identity because it has been repeated many times. Do not believe everything just because it arrives with heat. Say, this is a story my mind is telling. This sentence creates distance. Distance creates choice. Choice creates freedom. Overthinking often uses the words what if. What if I fail? What if I lose? What if they laugh? What if I regret this? Give your mind another question. What then? If I fail, what then? I will learn and adjust. If they laugh, what then? I will still breathe. If I lose, what then? I will grieve and rebuild. If I regret something, what then? I will take responsibility and grow. The anxious mind believes one painful outcome is the end. The trained mind knows life continues through many forms. You have already survived moments you thought would break you. Remember this. There were nights when you did not know how you would continue, and still morning came. There were days when your heart felt heavy, and still you moved. There were mistakes you thought would define you, and still you are more than them. Fear forgets your history of survival. Remind it with truth. Still, do not live only as a survivor. Survival is the beginning, not the whole path. You are not here merely to endure your own mind. You are here to train it, to use it for service, creation, love, discipline, and courage. A sharp knife can prepare food or cut the hand. The knife is not the enemy. The untrained hand is the danger. Your mind is not the enemy. The absence of training is the danger. Give your life direction. A mind without direction circles itself. If you do not know what matters, every fear will pretend to matter. Choose values, honesty, discipline, peace, courage, health, service, growth. Then when the mind becomes loud, ask, which action matches my values? Values are stronger than moods. Moods change like weather. Values become the mountain beneath the weather. If your value is honesty, speak truth with respect. If your value is discipline, do the task when the mood resists. If your value is health, care for the body before it screams. If your value is peace, stop entering every argument that invites you. If your value is growth, turn the mistake into a lesson instead of a weapon against yourself. This is how direction quiets the mind. You must also simplify where you can. A complicated life feeds a complicated mind. Too many false promises, too many unfinished tasks, too many open wounds, too many people-pleasing habits, too many silent resentments, too much noise. Clean what you can. Clean your room. Clean your schedule. Clean your words. Clean your commitments. Clean your digital world. Clean the way you speak to yourself. Outer order does not solve everything, but it gives inner order a place to grow. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Stop checking what keeps hurting you. Stop replaying conversations with people who are asleep while you lose your peace. Stop turning every delay into rejection. Stop making every mistake a verdict. Stop giving every opinion the power of a law. Your attention is sacred. Spend it with wisdom. This does not mean you become cold. It means you become clear. A clear person can love deeply without losing themselves. A clear person can listen without absorbing every emotion. A clear person can care without controlling. A clear person can apologize without drowning in shame. A clear person can walk away without hatred. Clarity is not hardness. Clarity is clean strength. When you are unsure what to do, return to the 4 steps. Body, name, step, practice. Return to the body. Name the thought. Reduce it to one next step. Practice daily. Do not search for a secret more complicated than this. The mind loves complexity because complexity allows delay. Simplicity removes the hiding place. One breath, one truth, one action, one repetition. Do not wait for perfect confidence. Confidence is often born after action, not before it. You want to feel ready before moving, but readiness may come from moving. The first step may shake. Take it anyway. The voice may tremble. Speak anyway. The hand may be uncertain. Begin anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the decision that fear will not be the only voice. Many people think peace means nothing touches them. This is not peace. This is numbness. True peace can feel pain without becoming chaos. True peace can hear criticism without becoming hatred. True peace can lose something without losing the self. True peace can face uncertainty and still choose a noble action. It is alive, it is awake, it is strong. The bamboo survives the storm because it bends. The stone resists and breaks. Let the mind learn from bamboo. Be flexible. Plans may change, people may change, feelings may change, the path may turn. Flexibility does not mean weakness. It means you do not need reality to obey your script before you can remain steady. You adapt without abandoning your center. You are not responsible for controlling every outcome. You are responsible for the quality of your action, the honesty of your intention, the discipline of your practice, and the way you return after being pulled away. This is enough, not small, enough. If you try to control everything, you will lose yourself. If you control what is yours, you will gain strength. Ask yourself tonight, what is actually mine? My breath, my next action, my words, my boundaries, my effort, my attention, my willingness to learn, my response. What is not fully mine? Other people's opinions, the past, the weather of tomorrow, the timing of every result, the hidden thoughts of others, the final shape of life. Carry what is yours, release what is not. If a thought returns many times, do not immediately fear it. Sit with it and ask, are you asking for action or are you asking for attention? Some thoughts return because something must be done. Do it. Some thoughts return because a feeling must be felt. Feel it. Some thoughts return because a habit wants food. Do not feed it. Learning, which is part of mastery. Remember, the goal is not to become a person who never thinks deeply. Deep thinking is a gift. Reflection is a gift. Sensitivity is a gift. The goal is to stop letting thought become a wheel that crushes you. Think when thinking serves. Reflect when reflection teaches. Plan when planning guides. Then return to living. A tool must be placed down when the work is done. There is a quiet life waiting beneath the noise. Not a life without problems, but a life where problems no longer own your entire mind. A life where you can drink tea and actually taste it. Walk outside and actually feel the air. Speak to someone and actually listen. Work on something and actually focus. Rest and actually rest. This is what overthinking steals. And this is what practice returns. So today, begin with one moment. When the thought rises, do not run with it. Place your feet on the ground. Breathe out slowly. Name it. This is fear. This is regret. This is uncertainty. This is old shame. Then ask, what is one wise action available now? Do that action. Later, sit for a few minutes and train the return. Tomorrow, do it again. The path is built by repetition. You may not feel transformed immediately, but do not underestimate the quiet power of repeated returning. Water shapes stone not by force, but by constancy. A single breath may seem small, but thousands of breaths practiced with awareness can reshape the mind. A single step may seem small, but thousands of steps become a path. A single promise kept may seem small, but thousands of kept promises become character. The mind that once ran in fear can learn to walk in wisdom. The heart that once shook before every shadow can learn to stand in its own light. The life that once waited for perfect certainty can begin moving with humble courage. You do not need to destroy the mind. You need to train it. You do not need to hate your thoughts. You need to stop obeying all of them. You do not need to escape life. You need to return to it. Right now, let one breath be enough. Not enough for the whole future, enough for this moment. Let one step be enough. Not enough to finish the whole journey, enough to begin. Let one honest practice be enough. Not enough to become perfect, enough to turn toward freedom. The old habit may call you back, but you do not have to answer every call. You can return to the body. You can name the thought. You can reduce the battlefield. You can train again. When fear says, think more, answer, breathe first. When regret says, replay this, answer, learn, and release. When uncertainty says, freeze, answer one step. When shame says, hide, answer, I will meet myself with honesty. When the mind says, you cannot handle life, answer, I can handle this breath, and this breath is where life begins. This is the way out of overthinking. Not violence against your mind, not escape from responsibility, but steady practice. Calm body, named thoughts, simple action, daily return, until mind becomes a steady companion instead of a cage.